The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows that danced along the cracked pavement of the neighborhood where I had spent most of my life. I stood at the threshold of my home, a place that had been my sanctuary for decades, and watched as my grandson, a boy of only 10, chased after a wayward soccer ball. His laughter echoed like music, piercing through the thick air that weighed heavy with the scent of impending rain. It was a moment of pure joy, and I couldn't help but smile, even as a dark cloud loomed over my heart. Everything changed in an instant when I heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps approaching, heavy, deliberate, and all too familiar. My son, Marcus, swaggered up the walkway, his face a mask of false bravado. I could see the tension in his shoulders, the way he clenched his jaw. It was a telltale sign of the storm brewing beneath the surface. I had always known my son to be a man of ambition, but lately, his aspirations had taken a darker turn. "Dad," he called out, his voice strained. "We need to talk." The way he said it made my stomach knot. I motioned for him to come inside, but he hesitated, casting a glance over his shoulder as if he feared we might be overheard. I felt a chill run down my spine. "Please, Marcus, what's going on?" I asked, forcing my voice to remain steady despite the unease that gnawed at me. He stepped into the dim light of the living room, the walls lined with memories, framed photographs of family holidays, birthdays, and milestones. I watched as his gaze flitted over the images, lingering on one of us together, his face beaming with pride. A flicker of something passed through his eyes, but it was gone before I could name it. "Dad, I need your help," he said finally, a pleading note creeping into his tone. "I've run into some financial trouble." I nodded, bracing myself for what was to come. I had heard whispers, rumors that had flickered like shadows in the back of my mind, the kind you try to ignore but can't quite shake off. "What kind of trouble?" I asked, my voice low and steady. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I owe some money, a lot of money, and if I don't pay it back soon..." His voice trailed off, and I could see the fear etched across his features. I had never seen my son like this, broken and desperate. "Who do you owe?" I pressed, my heart heavy with dread. His silence was deafening, and in that moment, I understood. The weight of his choices bore down on him like a crushing tide. "It doesn't matter. Just, I need you to sign over the house." The words hit me like a slap. "You want to put our home at risk to settle your debts?" I could hardly believe what I was hearing. "This is where your mother and I built our lives, where you grew up. You can't just throw it away." "I'm not throwing it away. I'm trying to save us." His voice rose, desperation spilling over into anger. "If I don't pay them, they'll come after me, and they won't just take the money. They'll take everything." I felt a surge of sorrow and anger battling within me. How had we come to this? My son, once filled with dreams and hope, now standing before me, a shell of the man I had raised. I wanted to rage against the darkness that had consumed him, to shake him awake from this nightmare. But all I could manage was to look into his eyes and see the reflection of my own failures as a father. "Marcus," I said softly, "I can't just sign it over. I need to think. This isn't just about money." He stepped closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. "I'd do anything to get us out of this. Please, Dad, I need you to trust me." Trust, a word that once held weight and meaning. I felt my heart sink when I realized that trust had been eroded, worn away by secrets and lies. I wanted to believe him, to help him, but something deep inside me screamed to protect what little we had left. "Just give me a few days," I said finally, my voice trembling with the effort to remain calm. "Let me think this through." He nodded, but I could see the impatience simmering beneath his surface. "I can't wait too long. They're not the forgiving type." As he turned to leave, a flicker of resolve ignited within me. I couldn't allow him to drag us down with him. I knew there were options, ways to protect my home, to shield my family from the consequences of his actions. But I also knew that the cost of his choices would not come without its own price. The door clicked shut behind him, and I sank into the worn armchair, the weight of uncertainty settling heavily on my chest. I closed my eyes, allowing the memories to wash over me, of laughter, of love, of a family that once felt invincible. But now, it lay fractured, and the threads of trust that bound us seemed frayed and ready to snap. As the shadows lengthened and the last rays of sunlight faded, an idea began to form in the recesses of my mind. A plan, a way to reclaim what was rightfully ours, to show Marcus that the choices he had made would not go unchallenged. I could feel the anger simmering beneath the surface, a quiet resolve building within me. In that moment of clarity, I understood that I would not let my son's mistakes define us. There was power in patience, and I would use it to my advantage. The game was not over. It had only just begun. "Sign it, Grandpa." I smiled and showed them the wiretap. The pieces were set into motion, and soon, they would learn that underneath my quiet exterior lay a fierce determination. And as for Marcus, he would come to understand that the path to redemption was paved with lessons learned in the harshest way. I would protect my family, even if it meant becoming the very monster I had sought to shield them from. The echoes of my grandson's laughter still linger in the humid air, a stark contrast to the oppressive silence that now blankets my thoughts. I watch as Lucas chases the soccer ball across the worn grass, his small legs moving with an unyielding determination. Each kick sends ripples of joy through him, brightening the dimness that threatens to seep into our lives. But that joy is tainted now, overshadowed by the weight of my son Marcus's words, a heavy cloud looming just above our heads. The sky darkens as I shift in my seat on the porch, the wood creaking beneath me, a reminder of the years etched into this home, a home that feels more like a ticking time bomb than a sanctuary. I take a deep breath, inhaling the earthy scent of impending rain mingled with the sweet aroma of freshly cut grass. It's a smell that usually brings comfort, but today it only tightens the knot in my stomach. "Grandpa, look," Lucas calls, his voice high and sweet, cutting through the tension like a knife. He scores a goal, arms raised in triumph. For a moment, I forget about everything else. The bills piling up, the threats whispering through the walls of our home, and most painfully, Marcus's desperate plea. With each clap of Lucas's hands, I feel a flicker of warmth, a reminder of the innocence that still exists in this world. But the joy is short-lived. I glance back down the street, half expecting to see Marcus returning any moment, his face a mask of guilt and regret. The clouds grow heavier above, darkening to an ominous gray. I realize I need to act. I can't just let that conversation fester, can't allow the fear of Marcus's choices to seep further into our lives. But how can I confront him without igniting the flames of conflict? "Lucas," I call, my voice unexpectedly sharp. He pauses mid-celebration, the joy slipping from his face as he turns to me, uncertainty flickering in his bright eyes. "Why don't you come inside for a bit? It looks like rain." "Okay." He runs back, his small feet pounding against the pavement, the sound like a heartbeat in the stillness. I force a smile, but it feels brittle on my lips, cracking under the pressure of my thoughts. Once inside, I close the door behind him, the familiar creak sounding like a warning. The walls of our home are lined with memories, photos of birthdays, Christmas mornings, and lazy summer afternoons. I take a moment to gaze at them, each picture a reminder of what we stand to lose. "Can we play a game?" Lucas asks, his voice brightening the dim room. He drops his soccer ball and races toward the stack of board games on the shelf. "Sure, buddy," I reply, the words coming out softer than I feel. I'm grateful for his distraction, but as he pulls out a game, I can't shake the feeling that we're merely postponing the inevitable confrontation with Marcus. I ruffle his hair, a gesture meant to convey affection, but it feels heavy, a weight of responsibility resting on my shoulders. Minutes pass, the game unfolding with laughter and playful banter. But my mind drifts, wandering back to the pleading look in Marcus's eyes, the desperation that lurks beneath his bravado. I can't ignore it, can't pretend everything will be fine while he's drowning in a sea of debt and bad choices. Lucas, why don't you go wash your hands? We'll set up for lunch after the game, I say, trying to sound cheerful. He nods, his innocence a comforting balm against the turmoil in my heart. As he runs off, I return to the window, watching the clouds gather, their darkness reflecting the shadows creeping into our lives. The sound of rain begins to patter against the roof, a soft, rhythmic reminder of the storm brewing both outside and within my family. I want to believe that I can shield Lucas from this chaos, that he can remain untouched by the troubles that plague his father. But I know better. Life has a way of crashing down, of dragging even the brightest souls into its murky depths. I can't delay any longer. I pull out my phone, the screen lighting up with Marcus's name. My thumb hovers over the call button, hesitating. What can I say that hasn't already been said? I'm here for you, feels woefully inadequate. The rain picks up, a low rumble of thunder echoing in the distance, urging me to act. I press the button, the call ringing in my ear. Each ring feels like an eternity, a countdown to the inevitable confrontation. Hello. His voice breaks through, strained and thick with emotion. I can hear the weight of his burdens even through the phone. Marcus, I say, keeping my voice steady. We need to talk. Yeah, I know, he replies, a sigh escaping him, layered with exhaustion.
I'm sorry, Dad.
I didn't mean to. Stop. I cut him off, not wanting to hear his apologies. I need you to come over. Now. Okay. I'm on my way, he says, and I can hear the resignation in his voice. The line goes dead, leaving me standing in the silence, the tension thickening the air around me. Lucas returns, his small hands glistening from the sink, and I can't help but smile at his innocence. What's wrong, Grandpa? He asks, tilting his head, sensing the shift in the atmosphere. Nothing, kiddo. Just grown-up stuff, I say, forcing a smile, but it feels like a mask, hiding the storm brewing behind my eyes. Can I help? He asks, his voice bright and genuine. I kneel down to his level, searching for the right words. You're already helping just by being you, I say, my heart swelling with love for him. Just keep being you, okay? He nods, beaming, and I can't help but wonder how long I can keep this facade up. The doorbell rings, slicing through the moment like a knife. Stay here, Lucas, I instruct, my voice firm as I head for the door. The weight of my decision hangs heavily in the air, a palpable tension that seems to follow me as I approach. I open the door, and there stands Marcus, rain-soaked and weary, his eyes shadowed by worry. The sight of him sends a jolt through my chest. This is my son, a man who once had dreams that soared higher than the clouds. But now those dreams feel like anchors, dragging him deeper into darkness. Hey, he says, his voice low, almost a whisper. Come in, I reply, stepping aside to let him enter. The warmth of the house contrasts sharply with the chill of the rain, but I can't shake the feeling that the comfort is merely a facade. Lucas is in the other room, I say, gesturing toward the sounds of his laughter, a stark reminder of what we're fighting for. Good, Marcus murmurs, running a hand through his wet hair, his gaze darting around the living room as if searching for answers in the familiar surroundings. We settle at the kitchen table, the space between us thick with unspoken words. I can feel the tension, like a rubber band stretched to its limits, ready to snap. I know you're struggling, I begin, keeping my voice steady, but it trembles slightly at the edges. But signing over the house, it's not the answer, Marcus. He looks down, the weight of my words pressing against him. I don't have a choice, Dad. If I don't settle this now, I'll lose everything. I just need a little help. His voice cracks, and I can see the desperation in his eyes. Help shouldn't mean losing our home, I counter, my heart heavy with the realization that this isn't just about the house. It's about trust, about the choices he's made that have led us here. I didn't want to drag you into this, he says, shaking his head, frustration spilling over. But I'm drowning. I thought maybe you could understand. I do understand, Marcus. I reply, my voice rising slightly. But every choice has consequences, and I can't just stand by and watch you sink because of them. He slams his fist against the table, the sound reverberating through the room. And what do you want me to do? Just sit back and let everything fall apart? I'm trying to fix this. His anger hangs in the air, thick and tangible, but I can see the fear behind it. A fear that mirrors my own. You're trying to fix this by making decisions that could destroy us both. I can't let you put Lucas at risk. Lucas, he mutters, the name a reminder of what he stands to lose. I don't want him to suffer because of me. Then stop making choices that will hurt him. My voice softens, desperation creeping in. You need to find another way, Marcus. The rain drums against the window, a relentless reminder of the storm outside, a reflection of the turmoil within. He stares at me, and in that moment I see the boy he once was, the boy who would run to me for guidance, for strength. But now he's a man teetering on the edge, and I'm terrified of what might happen if he falls. What do I do? He finally asks, his voice barely more than a whisper, the fight draining from him like water from a leaky faucet. You need to face this head on. No more hiding. We'll figure it out together. Like family, I say, feeling the resolve building within me. But you have to promise me you won't make any more reckless decisions. We'll find a way, but it has to start with honesty. He nods slowly, and I can see the flicker of hope igniting in his eyes, a tiny flame against the darkness that has surrounded us for too long. Okay, Dad, I promise. As I reach across the table, placing my hand over his, I can feel the weight of our shared burdens and the flicker of resilience that sparks between us. It's a fragile connection, but it's a start. Outside, the rain continues to fall, but within these walls, I feel the first stirrings of hope. Together, we will weather the storm. Together, we will find a way to protect what matters most. The smell of freshly cut grass lingered in the air, mingling with the distant rumble of thunder as I stood on the porch, the screen door creaking softly behind me. Lucas was still outside, his laughter a bright thread woven into the tapestry of the evening. He kicked the soccer ball with a vigor that seemed to defy the storm brewing overhead. I forced a smile, even as the weight of Marcus's words pressed down on my chest like a heavy stone. Grandpa, look, Lucas called out, his eyes sparkling with mischief as he dribbled the ball past an imaginary defender. For a fleeting moment, I lost myself in the innocence of his play, the way his joy echoed like music that could drown out the darkness lurking just beyond our little haven. But then, the memory of Marcus's desperate plea resurfaced, sharper than any blade. You have to sign it, Dad. It's the only way. The urgency in his voice still clung to my ears, twisting like a vine around my heart. I could see in his eyes the shadow of a man worn down by choices that spiraled beyond his control. A knot of worry twisted tighter within me. The sky darkened as clouds swirled ominously, casting a shadow over our yard. I looked back at Lucas, who was now spinning in circles, the ball forgotten as he pretended to be a tornado. The simple act reminded me of the countless times I had spun him around as a baby, his laughter filling the air like a melody that could chase away any storm. Lucas, I called, my voice a gentle anchor in the encroaching chaos. Come inside for a bit. It looks like rain. He stopped, his face a mixture of exhilaration and disappointment. But I was just about to score. He pouted adorably, and I couldn't help but chuckle. Trust me, buddy. There will be plenty of time for goals. but I think we need to hunker down for a moment. I gestured toward the porch, my heart aching for the carefree days we once shared, days that seemed to vanish with every burden Marcus laid at my feet. As Lucas trudged inside, I felt the walls of the house wrap around me like a comforting embrace, though they now held a weight of uncertainty. I could almost hear the echoes of laughter that once filled the rooms, memories stacked like dusty boxes in the corners of my mind. "Can we play a game?" Lucas asked, his eyes brightening as he leaned against the kitchen counter, seeking refuge from the storm outside. "Maybe that one where we build the biggest tower with the blocks?" "Sure thing, champ," I replied, forcing a smile despite the heaviness in my heart. I retrieved the blocks from the cupboard, the familiar sound of wood clacking together momentarily soothing my frayed nerves. As we built, the rain began to patter softly against the roof, a gentle reminder that nature had its own way of cleansing the world, even if it felt chaotic. I focused on Lucas's delight as we constructed a tower that seemed to stretch toward the ceiling, his laughter filling the spaces the storm couldn't reach. "Look, Grandpa, we did it!" he exclaimed, his hands raised in triumph, his innocence a beacon of hope amidst my turmoil. "Just like a skyscraper," I replied, my heart swelling with pride. But even as we celebrated, the cracks in our family foundation felt as real as the cracks in the pavement outside. "Lucas," I began, hesitating as I watched him bounce on his toes, the energy radiating from him like sunlight. "What do you think about where we live? Do you think it's safe?" His brow furrowed slightly, a sign that my question had pulled him from the clouds of imagination. "Of course it is, Grandpa. Why wouldn't it be?" I paused, the truth heavy on my tongue. "Sometimes things change, kiddo. Sometimes grown-ups have to make tough choices." I glanced out the window toward the dense gray sky, hoping it would shield me from the weight of reality. "Like when you say I can't eat candy before dinner?" he replied, a hint of mischief returning to his voice. "Yes, just like that." I chuckled, though the laughter felt hollow. The rain picked up, a steady drumming that mirrored the rising tension within me. I cleared my throat, trying to push past the lump that had settled there. "You know your dad is going through some tough times, right?" Lucas nodded, his expression shifting from playful to solemn. "He's been acting weird, like he's worried all the time." I felt the ache in my chest deepen. "It's true, but sometimes people worry because they love us. They want to protect us, even if it doesn't seem like it." "Do you think he'll be okay?" "Yeah, buddy. We just have to help him through it," I said, though I wasn't sure if I believed my own words. Just then, the door creaked open, and Marcus stepped inside, his face drawn and weary, shadows etched under his eyes. The tension in the air thickened like the storm clouds outside, and I could feel Lucas's small body tense beside me. "Dad," Marcus said, his voice low and heavy, "can we talk?" I nodded, gesturing for him to take a seat at the kitchen table, where the remnants of our block tower still stood tall. Lucas glanced between us, sensing the shift in atmosphere, and quietly retreated to the living room, leaving us to confront the storm head-on. Marcus sat, his fingers nervously tapping against the table's surface. "I've been thinking about what you said earlier," he began, his gaze fixed on the tabletop as if it were a lifeline, "about us needing to work together." "Good," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. "But we have to be honest with each other. What's really happening, Marcus? This isn't just about money. It's about our family." He sighed, the weight of his struggles spilling into the air like rainwater pooling on the floor. "I messed up, Dad. I took out loans, thinking I could turn things around. I thought I could handle it." "Handle what?" The frustration bubbled beneath the surface, but I held it back, desperate for understanding. "Business deals that went south. Bad investments. I thought I could fix it all, but it just got worse. And now—" His voice trailed off, and I could see the shame etched on his face. Now you want to sign over the house? I asked, my voice strained. I don't know what else to do, he admitted, his voice cracking like the thunder outside. I can't let you lose everything because of my mistakes. Marcus, this house isn't just property to us. It's our home. It's where Lucas is growing up. We can't just give it away. I know, he shot back, the desperation spilling over. But I can't keep drowning in this mess. I need help, Dad. I took a deep breath, the air thick with unsaid words. We need to find another way. You can't keep shouldering this alone, and I won't let you put this family at risk. We need to work together. Remember? He looked up, his eyes glistening with unspilled tears. I just don't want to lose you guys. I can't bear the thought of ruining Lucas's life. I reached across the table, placing my hand over his. Then let's find a way to keep this family together. We'll figure it out, but you have to trust me, too. As a rumble of thunder echoed outside, I felt a flicker of hope amid the storm. The rain continued to pour, a cleansing force that could wash away the past, leaving room for new beginnings. Are you willing to fight for this family? I asked, my heart pounding with the weight of the moment. He looked at me, uncertainty flickering in his gaze, but I could see the resolve beginning to take shape. Yeah, I am. I need your guidance. Then let's start there. As we sat together, the storm raging outside, I felt the first stirrings of resilience igniting within me. Maybe we could weather this tempest together, just as we had faced so many before. And with every drop of rain that fell, I felt the bonds of family tightening, refusing to break even under the weight of despair. Let's talk about a plan, I said, my voice steady as the storm raged on, washing away the remnants of fear and doubt. We'll find a way forward, Marcus. Together. And somewhere deep inside, I knew this was just the beginning. A storm brews. The air feels thicker now, each breath a reminder of the storm brewing outside. I sit on the edge of the worn, floral-patterned couch, its fabric faded but familiar, the scent of aged wood and memories wrapping around me like a comforting blanket. Lucas is still outside, his laughter echoing through the open window, each squeal of joy a stark contrast to the heaviness weighing on my heart. I glance at the clock on the wall, its hands ticking slowly, almost mockingly. It's late afternoon, and the clouds gather like a dark army on the horizon, their gray bodies stretching and swelling, ready to burst. Marcus should be here any moment, and I can't shake the gnawing anxiety curling in my stomach. The door creaks open, and Marcus steps inside, his silhouette framed against the dim light of the hallway. He looks smaller somehow, hunched beneath the weight of his worries, the shadows cast on his face deepening the lines of stress etched into his skin. I can see it, the desperation that clings to him like a second skin, the dark circles under his eyes speaking volumes of sleepless nights and gnawing fears. Dad, he starts, his voice barely a whisper, and I can hear the tremor in it, like a fragile note about to break. Marcus, sit down, I say, my tone firmer than I feel. I motion to the chair across from me, a nearby coffee table cluttered with old magazines and a half-drunk cup of coffee, its steam now long gone. He sinks into the chair, his hands fidgeting with the frayed edges of his jeans, and I can almost see the thoughts racing through his mind, colliding with each other like storm clouds. I know you're upset, he finally says, his voice low. But I need you to understand. I cut him off, the frustration bubbling up like a geyser. Understand what, Marcus? That you're about to lose everything we've worked for? That you're asking me to give up our home, the place where your mother and I raised you. He flinches at the mention of his mother, an unspoken guilt hanging between us. I can see the memories flickering in his eyes, the warmth of childhood moments now overshadowed by the cold reality of his choices. I didn't want it to come to this, he admits, his voice cracking. But I'm drowning, Dad. I've made mistakes, and I don't know how to fix them. I take a deep breath, trying to temper the anger coiling in my chest. We can fix this together, but you have to be honest with me. What exactly are we dealing with? I can't help you if you keep hiding things. Finally, he meets my gaze, and in that moment, I see the flicker of a resolve that hadn't been there before. I owe more than just the mortgage, he says, his voice steadier now, though it trembles with the weight of his confession. There are loans, credit cards. I thought I could manage it, Dad. I really did. But every month it just gets worse. I'm in over my head. The truth hangs in the air like the impending storm outside, heavy and electric. How much? I ask, bracing myself for the answer. Each word a stone dropped into the well of my worry. Close to 50,000. He finally admits, his eyes dropping to the floor as if he can't bear the weight of my gaze. 50,000. The numbers swirl in my mind, each one a reminder of what's at stake. Our family home, the memories housed within its walls, the laughter that has echoed through the years. And you thought signing over the house was the solution? I can hardly keep the disbelief out of my voice. You want to give up everything we've built? It's the only way I can get the creditors off my back, Dad. His voice rises, desperation seeping through. I thought if I could just get back on my feet, I could buy it back. We could start over. I thought. I interrupt, my heart racing as the memories of his childhood fill my mind. You didn't think of the consequences? You're putting your family at risk, Marcus. This isn't just about you anymore. His face pales, and for a moment, I see the young boy he once was. The one who would race through the backyard, laughter spilling like sunlight on a summer day. I'm sorry, he murmurs, his voice barely a whisper. I didn't mean for it to get this far. I just wanted to provide for Lucas. I thought I was doing the right thing. There it is, the crux of it. He is driven by love for his son, a fierce, protective instinct that blinds him to the reality of his actions. I feel a pang of empathy, a reminder of my own struggles as a father, but the anger still simmers beneath the surface. Marcus, love doesn't come from money. It comes from being present, from making the right choices. We need to find another way. He nods slowly, but I can see the uncertainty etched on his face. But how? The rain begins to patter against the window, a soft rhythm that matches my heartbeat. I can feel the tension in my chest easing slightly as I think. We need to talk to a financial advisor. We can't do this alone. Maybe there are options we haven't considered. Like what? He asks, skepticism lining his features. Refinancing, maybe? We can look into consolidating your debts. But first, we need to gather all the documents and get a clear picture of what we're dealing with. I say, my voice steadying as I mentally map out a plan. No more hiding. No more secrets. We face this together as a family. His eyes brighten just a fraction, the glimmer of hope breaking through the clouds of despair. You really think we can do this? I have to believe we can. I reply, my conviction growing stronger. For Lucas, for our family. But it starts with you being honest with me. No more hiding. We'll figure it out. I promise. Just then, a loud clap of thunder shakes the house, rattling the windows, and I watch as Lucas rushes in from outside, his cheeks flushed and eyes wide with excitement. Did you see that, Grandpa? He exclaims, breathless from the thrill of the storm. It's like the sky is playing music. I can't help but chuckle at his innocence, the joy radiating from him like sunlight breaking through the clouds. It sure is, kiddo. Just remember to stay inside while it's storming. Okay? Okay, he shouts, his laughter filling the room, a sweet melody that cuts through the tension like a knife. I turn back to Marcus, who is watching Lucas with a mix of admiration and regret. He deserves stability, Marcus. We have to fight for that. I say, my voice steady. I get it, he replies, his determination rekindled. I won't let him down again. I promise. As we sit there, the storm raging outside, I feel a flicker of hope igniting within me. It's fragile, but it's there. A small flame against the encroaching darkness. Together, we can weather this storm. Together, we can find a way to protect what truly matters. The rain continues to fall, a relentless rhythm that becomes a backdrop to our resolve. A reminder that even the fiercest storms eventually pass. And as I look at my son and grandson, I know that we will emerge from this stronger and more united than before, ready to face whatever comes next. The air around us feels heavy, thick with unspoken words and the impending weight of rain. I glance at Lucas, his small frame darting across the yard, soccer ball at his feet, laughter spilling from his mouth like sunlight breaking through clouds. I want to bottle that laughter, keep it safe and sound, far from the shadows gathering at the edges of our lives. But as Marcus leans against the fence, his face drawn tight with worry, I know those shadows are creeping closer. "Dad, you don't understand," he says, his voice cracking slightly, a faint echo of the boy I once knew. "I'm drowning here. I just need you to sign it. We can figure things out later. I promise." I shake my head, the taste of bitterness coating my tongue. "Signing over the house isn't going to fix this, Marcus. It's just going to bury us deeper." I can feel the weight of my words pressing down on him, and I regret the sharpness, but I can't let him see how close I am to shattering. "Do you even care about what happens to us?" His eyes flash with anger, a storm brewing beneath the surface. "This is my life we're talking about. I can't let it all slip away." I take a step closer, my heart pounding in rhythm with the distant rumble of thunder. "I care more than you can imagine, but you're putting us at risk. Lucas deserves better than this chaos. Lucas deserves a father who's willing to do whatever it takes." His voice rises, slicing through the stillness of the afternoon. The laughter from the yard fades, leaving only the tension that coils between us like a tightened spring. "Enough!" I bark, the word bursting from me like a dam breaking. In that moment, the rain begins to fall, light at first, a gentle patter against the earth, but I know it's just the beginning. "You think this is easy for me? You think I want to watch you spiral like this? I want to help you, but not like this." The wind picks up, rustling the leaves overhead, and I can smell the damp earth, the coming storm mingling with the scent of regret that lingers in the air. Marcus's shoulders sag, the fight leaving him as quickly as it arrived. "I just don't know what else to do," he murmurs, defeat spilling over the edges of his words. I look past him, to where Lucas stands, his small hands on his hips, watching us with wide eyes. He's too young to understand the gravity of this moment, but he senses the tension, the storm brewing not just in the sky but within our family. I can't let him bear the weight of our struggles. "Lucas, why don't you come inside for a minute?" I call, my voice softer now, a lifeline in the tempest. He hesitates, the innocence in his eyes flickering with uncertainty, before he jogs over, mud splattering against his shins. "Are you guys okay?" he asks, his small brow furrowed in concern. "Just a little grown-up talk," I say, forcing a smile, though it feels more like a mask than anything real. "Why don't you help me find that old soccer ball of yours? I think it's somewhere in the garage." Lucas nods, a hint of mischief returning to his face as he dashes toward the house, leaving Marcus and me standing in the growing storm. I can feel the rain intensifying, and with it, the weight of our unspoken fears. "I'm scared, Dad," Marcus finally admits, his voice low, almost lost beneath the patter of rain. "I've made mistakes. I just don't want to lose my family." I want to reach out, to pull him close and remind him he's still my son, that there's a way out of this darkness. But the distance between us feels like an abyss, and the storm outside mirrors the turmoil within my heart. "Then let's work together," I say, my voice steady, trying to anchor us both. "But not with desperation. We need a plan. You can't just throw everything away." He looks up, hope flickering in his eyes like a candle in the wind. What do you mean? We're going to sit down and talk this through. No more secrets, no more lies. We'll figure out a way to pay off your debts without losing the house. But you have to promise me you'll be honest about everything. His shoulders relax a fraction, and I can see the weight of his burdens shift, even if just slightly. Okay, Dad. Promise. But it's going to be hard. I know, I reply, the storm outside now a full-blown tempest, the sound of rain pounding against the roof drowning out everything else. But we'll face it together. You're not alone in this. Just then, Lucas bursts back out of the house, cradling the old soccer ball. Its bright colors faded, but still vibrant against the gloomy backdrop. Look, Grandpa, I found it. He beams, his joy a radiant light cutting through the darkness that looms over us. I can't help but smile, the innocence of his laughter wrapping around my heart like a warm embrace. Great job, buddy. How about we have a little practice in the backyard? Yeah? He cheers, oblivious to the storm raging just beyond the edge of our yard, the very storm that threatens to tear our family apart. I watch as he rushes toward the makeshift goal we set up last summer, his enthusiasm infectious, and for a moment, I forget about the chaos swirling in our lives. But as Marcus and I join him, I feel the weight of the rain-soaked air pressing down on us, the tension of our earlier arguments still palpable, like thunder rumbling in the distance. I can't shake the feeling that this moment, however fleeting, is a temporary reprieve. Okay, Lucas, show me what you've got, I call, my voice full of encouragement as I toss the ball to him. He kicks it with all his might, and it sails through the air, a bright splash of color against the gray sky. Watch this, Grandpa, he shouts, his energy a reminder that even amidst the storm, there's still joy to be found. Marcus stands beside me, a hint of a smile breaking through the clouds of his worry. He really loves it, doesn't he? Yeah, I reply, my heart swelling with a bittersweet mix of pride and fear. He's the best of us, Marcus. As we watch Lucas weave through imaginary defenders, I can't help but wonder if the warmth of moments like this can shield him from the storm that brews just beyond our front door. The rain pours harder now, a relentless downpour that seems to echo the turmoil in our lives. We'll get through this, I say quietly, glancing at Marcus, whose gaze is fixed on his son, the darkness in his eyes slowly being replaced by a flicker of hope. We just have to keep fighting. He nods, the tension in his shoulders easing just a bit as we stand side by side, watching Lucas dance in the rain, his laughter ringing out like a beacon against the storm. In this moment, I realize that perhaps, just perhaps, we can weather this together. But deep down, I know the battle is far from over. The storm is raging, and the shadows are still lurking, waiting for their chance to creep back into our lives. I take a deep breath, steeling myself for the fight ahead. We may be on the brink of losing everything, but for now we have each other, and that has to be enough. The air is thick with tension, the weight of our familial history pressing down like the impending storm. I look at Marcus, his face lined with desperation, and I feel a pang of sorrow. The flickering fluorescent light above casts a harsh glow, illuminating the worry etched in his eyes. Dad, I know it sounds drastic, but what other choice do I have? His voice trembles, a mix of defiance and pleading. I glance out the window, where the sky churns ominously, dark clouds swirling like a pot about to boil over. Rain is coming, and with it, the storm I've tried to shield my family from for so long. You're not thinking straight, Marcus. This house, our home, isn't just a property to be signed away. It's everything we've built together, every memory tied to these walls. The words tumble out of me, heavy with regret and love. Lucas, perched on the edge of the worn-out couch, fidgets with a toy, his innocence a stark contrast to the brewing storm of adult worries. He looks up at us, his blue eyes wide and uncomprehending. Are we going to lose the house, Grandpa? he asks, his voice high and shaky, echoing the uncertainty that hangs in the air. I swallow hard, my throat dry as sandpaper.
No, Lucas.
We're going to figure this out, I reply, forcing a smile that feels more like a grimace. Right, Marcus? Marcus looks away, the shame radiating from him like heat from a fire. I don't know, Dad. I just don't see another way out. I thought I could handle it, but… He trails off, his gaze dropping to the floor, where the scuffed linoleum holds the ghosts of our past arguments. But I can't. I messed up. The truth is, he's right. The choices he's made have led us to this precipice, and I can't ignore the resentment that simmers just beneath the surface. I want to shake him, to make him see the consequences of his actions, but I also know that the love of a father can sometimes blur the lines of accountability. You need to talk to someone, Marcus. A financial advisor or a therapist? He interrupts, his voice tinged with bitterness. I don't need a therapist, Dad. I need money. I need to fix what I broke. Lucas shifts uncomfortably, sensing the rising tide of anger. I catch his eye and offer a reassuring nod, though I feel anything but calm. Let's take a step back. We can do this together. We'll find a way to pay off your debts without losing everything, I say, hoping to guide us back to a place of solidarity. The thunder rumbles in the distance, a warning bell of the storm to come, both outside and within our home. I can almost hear the creaking of the roof, a reminder of the weight we carry, both tangible and intangible. All right, Marcus says finally, his voice softer now, almost defeated. But if we're going to come up with a plan, we need to be honest with each other. No more hiding things. I nod, appreciating the shift in his tone. Agreed. But we also need to acknowledge what's really at stake here. You have to think about Lucas. I motion toward my grandson, who is now intently watching us, his small fingers gripping the toy like a lifeline. Lucas, sweetheart, I say, kneeling beside him. Can you go to your room for a bit? Just until your dad and I finish our talk. His brow furrows, confusion dancing in his eyes. But he nods slowly, the innocence of childhood still shielding him from the full weight of our conversation. Okay, Grandpa, he replies quietly, slipping away down the hallway. As the door clicks shut behind him, I turn back to Marcus, my heart heavy. You need to understand the impact this has on him. He shouldn't have to bear the burden of our mistakes. Marcus runs a hand through his hair, the gesture both frustrated and weary. I know, Dad. I know. But I didn't plan for any of this to happen. I thought I could handle the business on my own, but things spiraled out of control. Sometimes it's okay to ask for help, I say, my voice steady yet filled with empathy. You're not alone in this. He looks at me, and for a fleeting moment, I see the boy he used to be. The one who would come to me with scraped knees and tear-streaked cheeks, seeking comfort in my arms.
I'm scared, Dad.
I don't want to lose everything, especially not Lucas. He's all I have left. I reach across the table, placing my hand over his. Then let's work together. We'll find a way to get through this. Just then, a sharp crack of thunder shakes the house, rattling the windows and sending a shiver down my spine. Outside, rain begins to pelt the pavement, the sound echoing like the pounding of our hearts. As if on cue, Lucas reappears, his small frame dwarfed by the doorway. Is it okay now? He asks, peering at us with cautious curiosity. Yeah, buddy, it's okay. Marcus replies, his voice softer. We're just working on a plan. Lucas steps inside, his energy infectious, momentarily dispelling the shadows that loom over us. Can we play a game after? He asks, his face lighting up with the kind of hope that only a child can muster. I smile, feeling a flicker of warmth seep into the coldness of our situation. Of course we can. How about a game of cards? Yay! Lucas cheers, his laughter ringing through the house like music, a sweet reminder of what we're fighting for. Marcus watches him, and I can see the love in his eyes, a flicker of the father he wants to be. Yeah, let's do that. But first, we need to talk about how we're gonna fix this mess, he says, turning serious again. Okay, here's what I think. I start, my mind racing with ideas. We can start by cutting unnecessary expenses. I know you're proud, but maybe it's time to consider selling the car? It's a luxury we can't afford right now. Marcus nods, his expression thoughtful. That makes sense. I've been holding on to it like a lifeline, but it's just dragging me down. And we can look into negotiating with your creditors. Sometimes they're willing to work with you if they see a genuine effort to pay back what you owe. I continue, feeling a sense of momentum building. As we brainstorm, the rain drums against the roof, a steady rhythm that matches the cadence of our conversation. I can feel the tension slowly beginning to dissipate, replaced by a fragile hope. Maybe I could pick up a second job, Marcus suggests, a hint of determination creeping into his voice. I could work nights or weekends. I hesitate, unsure how to break the news. Marcus, you need to be careful. You can't burn yourself out. You have to think about Lucas too. I know, he sighs, running his hand through his hair again. But I can't just sit back and let this happen. The storm outside intensifies, the wind howling like a restless spirit. It mirrors the chaos within us. But I can feel something shifting. We're on the cusp of finding a way forward, a new path carved out of the debris of our past choices. As we finalize our plan, I can't help but glance at the family photo on the wall. Smiling faces, carefree laughter frozen in time. I want that joy back, not just for Lucas but for all of us. Let's tackle this together. I say firmly, determination settling in my bones. We can do this, Marcus. For Lucas. For our family. He meets my gaze, and for the first time, I see a glimmer of hope in his eyes. Yeah, for Lucas. He echoes, as the thunder rumbles once more, a distant reminder of the storm but not the end of our fight. Together, we stand on the precipice of a new beginning, ready to face whatever storms may come. The air feels heavy, thick with the scent of impending rain and the weight of unspoken words. I glance out the window once more, watching as dark clouds roll in like a slow tide, threatening to drown the sun. Lucas is still outside, his laughter ringing through the air. Innocent and carefree, a melody that contrasts starkly with the turmoil brewing inside the walls of our home. I wish I could bottle that laughter, preserve it forever, but life has a way of unraveling the simplest joys. Dad, just sign it, Marcus pleads, his voice cracking at the edges, desperation thickening the air between us. He stands before me, the dim light casting shadows across his face, revealing the lines of worry etched deeply into his skin. I see a man who has fought hard, yet the battle is taking its toll. Marcus, I can't. I start, but he cuts me off, his frustration spilling over like water from a tipped glass. Why not? What if this is the only way to save us? We can't keep pretending everything is fine. His hands clench into fists, the knuckles white, as if he's holding on to the very last threads of hope. I take a deep breath, the air feeling sharp in my lungs. It's not just about the house. It's about what it represents. Our family, our history. I let the words hang in the air, heavy with unspoken fears. History won't pay the bills, Dad. He takes a step closer, eyes blazing with a mix of anger and desperation, his voice rising. I need you to trust me. I'm asking for your help, not your judgment. I can feel the walls of my heart tighten. Each word he throws at me feels like a stone. Trust has to be earned, Marcus. You've made choices. Choices? He scoffs, the bitterness in his tone cutting deep. I'm trying to fix this. I'm not asking for charity. I'm asking for a lifeline. The storm outside begins to rumble, low and ominous, echoing the turmoil between us. I want to scream, to let the frustration spill over like the rain that's now beginning to patter softly against the window. Instead, I close my eyes, searching for calm in the chaos. Let's think this through, I say, my voice softer, though my chest feels tight. There has to be another way. We can look into refinancing or… Refinancing? Marcus interrupts, throwing his arms up in disbelief. That's just papering over the cracks. You don't understand. I'm in deep debt. I owe more than we can cover. And if I don't act now, then what? You think signing over the house will make it all go away? The words come out sharper than I intend. I can see the hurt flashing in his eyes, but I can't help it. I feel cornered, like a lion with its back against the wall. No, I don't think that. He runs a hand through his hair, the frustration palpable. But it's a step, a chance to buy some time. I'm begging you. His voice breaks, and for a moment, I see the boy I raised, the one who used to come to me with scraped knees and wide eyes, looking for comfort. Lucas runs into the room, his cheeks flushed and breathless. Grandpa, can we play soccer in the backyard? His enthusiasm is like a burst of sunlight breaking through the clouds, and for a fleeting moment, I forget the storm swirling around us. Not right now, buddy, I say, my heart aching at the disappointment in his eyes. Maybe later. But why? He tilts his head, confusion etched on his face, so much like his father's at that age. It's just a game. Lucas, we're having a serious conversation, Marcus says, his voice strained but softening when he looks at his son. You wouldn't understand. Try me, Lucas replies, his innocence weaving through the tension like a flicker of light. Marcus kneels down, meeting his son's gaze. It's about the house. Daddy is trying to fix things, but it's hard. I can help, Lucas insists, his small hands on his hips as if he holds the solution to all our problems in his tiny frame. We can just sell my toys. I don't need them. The statement hangs in the air, a bittersweet reminder of the innocence we're all struggling to protect. I watch as Marcus's shoulders slump, the weight of fatherhood pressing down on him. Lucas, it's not just about toys, he says gently, his voice thick with emotion. It's about everything we have here. This house, it's our home. Then let's keep it, Lucas exclaims, his determination shining brightly. We can make it better. We can play soccer every day. I can feel the tears pricking at the corners of my eyes, the rawness of the moment rippling through me. You're right, Lucas. We can make it better, I say, my voice breaking. But we need to be smart about it. Marcus stands, tension still coiling in his shoulders. I just need you to believe in me, Dad. I can turn this around. I swear it. I swallow, the lump in my throat feeling as heavy as the clouds outside. I want to believe you, but it's hard to trust when all I see are the mistakes. The storm outside grows louder, the wind howling against the windows as if echoing my doubts. I take a step back, needing space to breathe, to think. The sound of thunder shakes the house, and I suddenly feel the weight of the years pressing down on me. Maybe we can come up with a plan together, I suggest, trying to shift the conversation. Let's sit down, write things out. We can look at your debts, see what can be negotiated. Marcus nods, though his face is still clouded with frustration. Fine. But we have to act fast, before it's too late. Lucas looks between us, his small brow furrowing, sensing the tension lingering in the air like the storm outside. Can we play soccer after we figure this out? I smile at him, the warmth of his innocence washing over me like a gentle rain. Yes, we can. We'll figure this out as a family. As we gather around the kitchen table, I can feel the storm inside me slowly begin to calm. The rain begins to fall more steadily against the roof, and I pull out a notepad, ready to scribble down numbers and ideas, but my heart is heavy with the knowledge of what's at stake. The kitchen is filled with the scent of old wood and fading memories, the walls holding whispers of laughter and love. I glance at Marcus, his face a mix of determination and fear, and then at Lucas, who is blissfully unaware of the gravity of our discussion, kicking an imaginary soccer ball with fervor. In this moment, I realize that it's not just about saving our house. It's about saving each other. We huddle together, sharing ideas and strategies, the sound of our voices blending with the rhythm of the rain. And as the storm rages on outside, I hold on to the hope that, somehow, we can weather this together. The weight of choices. The rain begins to fall, soft at first, like whispers urging us to listen closely. Each drop lands on the cracked pavement outside, creating a rhythm that syncs with the tension thrumming in my chest. I stand at the kitchen table, the faded oak surface a witness to countless family meals and heart-to-heart talks. But today it feels like a battleground. The table, once adorned with colorful drawings and the remnants of family dinners, now bears the weight of unspoken fears and looming decisions. Marcus paces back and forth, his hands shoved deep into the pockets of his worn jeans, the fabric stretching tightly against his frame as if it can't contain the storm brewing inside him. His dark hair falls into his eyes, a few rebellious strands sticking to his forehead, glistening with sweat from the tension of our conversation. "Dad, you don't get it," he bursts out, his voice sharp and filled with frustration. "I can't just sit back and watch everything fall apart. If I don't sign, we lose everything anyway." His words spill out, raw and unfiltered, echoing the fear that has taken up residence in our home. I can feel the weight of his words hanging in the air, a thick fog that threatens to suffocate the hope lingering in this room. I glance over at Lucas, who sits cross-legged on the floor, his small fingers tracing the outline of a soccer ball, oblivious to the gravity swirling around him. To him, the world is still bright, untouched by the dark clouds of adult worries. His innocence is a stark contrast to the turmoil of our reality, a reminder of what we stand to lose. "Marcus," I say, trying to keep my voice steady, "there are other options. We can find a way out of this mess without losing our home." The word home comes out heavy, laden with all the memories I've tucked away in the corners of my mind. Birthdays, laughter, the smell of my late wife's cooking wafting through the air. It's not just a roof over our heads. It's the very essence of our family's story. Like what? You want me to keep pretending everything's fine while the creditors knock down our door? He shakes his head vehemently, frustration morphing into desperation. "I'm tired of pretending, Dad. This isn't just about me anymore." His voice cracks, revealing the vulnerability he tries so hard to conceal. I feel a pang of guilt at his words, a bitter reminder that I've been lost in the past, clinging to the memories of what was rather than facing the reality of what is. "I understand that, son, but signing over the house, our family's legacy, it's not the solution," I reply, my heart aching at the thought of losing what we've built together. Lucas looks up, his wide eyes darting between us as if trying to bridge the chasm that's opened up. "Can't we just sell my toys?" he suggests, his voice filled with a childlike optimism that feels both sweet and heartbreaking. "I can sell my whole collection if it helps." He gestures toward the small mountain of action figures and soccer paraphernalia scattered across the floor, innocent treasures that mean so much to him.
Lucas, no.
Marcus snaps, the edge of his voice cutting through the air like a knife. "You can't sell your toys. You shouldn't have to deal with this." His anger dissipates as quickly as it came, replaced by a sense of protectiveness toward his younger brother. The silence that follows is thick, each heartbeat echoing in my ears. I watch as Lucas's face falls, the innocence of childhood slowly dimming under the weight of adult decisions. The rain outside intensifies, drumming against the roof like a warning, a reminder that the storm is not just outside, but right here with us. "Marcus, listen," I say, my voice softer now, almost pleading. "Let's take a breath. We can sit down with the bank and discuss your debts. There's always a way to negotiate, to find a middle ground. We just need to be smart about this. He scoffs, running a hand through his hair in frustration. Smart? Dad, I've already tried. They don't want to listen. All they see is a number, and that number is getting bigger by the day. I can't just wait for them to change their minds. The desperation in his voice pulls at my heartstrings. I can see him, a younger version of himself, standing in this very kitchen, full of dreams and plans. Now, those dreams feel like ashes in the wind, scattered and lost. Then we fight, I say, a flicker of determination igniting within me. We fight for what's ours. We don't give up without a battle. We're a family, Marcus. We stand together, no matter how hard it gets. Lucas's small voice breaks through the tension again. Like superheroes? His question hangs in the air, innocent and sincere, as if he believes we can take on the world with capes and courage. Exactly, buddy, I say, a smile creeping onto my face despite the storm raging within. Like superheroes, we may not have superpowers, but we have each other. That counts for something. Marcus softens slightly at Lucas's words, his shoulders dropping just a bit. I don't know, Dad. It feels like we're fighting a losing battle. His voice is quieter now, tinged with the vulnerability of a boy who feels the weight of the world on his shoulders. Then let's change the game, I urge, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. Let's sit down with the creditors, show them the wiretap. Show them that we're not just a name on a ledger. We're a family. Marcus's brow furrows, confusion replacing some of the tension on his face. What do you mean by a wiretap? I take a deep breath, feeling the weight of my decision, the risks involved in revealing this hidden truth. I have something I've been holding on to, something that could change everything. The rain continues to pound against the windows, a symphony of chaos that echoes my own turbulent thoughts. I walk over to a small drawer by the sink, my hands trembling slightly as I pull it open. Inside lies a small envelope, yellowed with age, a relic of a time long past. Dad, what is that? Marcus asks, his curiosity piqued, the tension in his voice easing just a notch. I take the envelope and hold it up, feeling the weight of its contents. This is a recording I made a long time ago, a conversation that could prove we're not alone in this fight. It's a way to show the creditors that we're more than just numbers. We have history, we have a voice. Marcus's eyes widen as he takes a step closer, skepticism giving way to intrigue. You mean a wiretap? You recorded someone? Yes. I confirm, my heart racing. It's complicated, but it could help us. It's proof that we've been wronged, that we're not just going to roll over and let them take what's ours. The rain outside shifts, the rhythm quickening as if mirroring the rising tension in the room. I can see the gears turning in Marcus's mind, the desperation giving way to a glimmer of hope. Okay, Dad, let's hear it, he says, his voice steadying. Let's see what we're up against. I nod, my fingers trembling as I carefully open the envelope and pull out the small device, my heart pounding like the rain against the roof. But remember, this is just a tool. It's what we do with it that counts. As I press play, the room fills with the crackling sound of voices, the past spilling into our present. The rain continues to fall, a backdrop to the unfolding drama, a reminder that storms can bring both destruction and renewal. The recording plays, and I hear my own voice, young, vibrant, filled with purpose, speaking to a man I once trusted. The conversation shifts from pleasantries to the heart of the matter. The promise of support that was never fulfilled, the assurances that fell through like whispers in the wind. Each word is a reminder of the betrayal that has led us to this moment, the choices that have brought us to the brink of losing everything. As we listen, I can't help but feel a flicker of hope ignite in my chest. Perhaps this time, we'll weather the storm together, emerging stronger and more united than before. The rain begins to taper off, the final drops falling with a gentle patter, as if the universe is granting us a moment of clarity. "Dad, this could really be our way out," Marcus says, his voice filled with a newfound determination. "We can take this to the bank, show them that we're not just going to roll over." "Yes, I agree," feeling the weight of our choices shift. "We have a chance to take back our story." Lucas, sensing the shift in our energy, smiles brightly, his innocence shining through. "See, we are superheroes." And in that moment, surrounded by the remnants of our struggles and the promise of new beginnings, I can't help but believe it too. We are superheroes, armed with our love for one another and the resolve to fight for what matters most. Together, we will face whatever comes next, ready to rewrite our story and reclaim the life we've built. The air hangs heavy with the scent of impending rain, a dampness that seeps into the cracks of our old home, mingling with the musty remnants of countless memories. The wind rattles the leaves outside, a shaky whisper of the storm to come, mirroring the turbulent emotions swirling within my chest. I can see Marcus's face, etched with desperation, his brow furrowed in a way that makes him look older than his years. And Lucas, oblivious to the weight of our conversation, chases after his soccer ball, laughter spilling from him like sunshine breaking through clouds. "Grandpa, what's that?" Lucas calls, his voice bright with curiosity as he skids to a halt, pointing at the old cassette recorder perched precariously atop the coffee table. The recorder, a relic from my younger days, might just hold the key to our survival. "It's nothing, buddy," I say, forcing a smile, but my heart races as I meet Marcus's gaze. "Just an old tape player." "Old tape player?" Marcus scoffs, his tone a mix of disbelief and irritation. "You mean that thing could actually work? You think a dusty piece of junk could help us?" His voice rises, each word punctuated with the tension that has wedged itself between us like an uninvited guest. I take a breath, tasting the metallic tang of anxiety. "It's not junk, Marcus. It's a tool. A way to show the creditors that we're not the deadbeats they think we are. If I can find the right recording, it might just sway them to give you some time." "Time?" He laughs, a hollow sound that echoes through the living room. "What good is time when they're breathing down my neck? When they're ready to take everything?" I glance at Lucas, who has returned to his game, blissfully unaware of the tempest brewing in the room. "Look, I know things are tough," I say, my voice steadying, "but we need to focus on solutions, not just despair. You're my son, and I want to help you, but you have to meet me halfway." Marcus runs a hand through his hair, frustration etched deep into his features. "Halfway? What does that even mean?" "You don't understand. These people don't care about family. They care about money." "Maybe." I nod slowly, searching for the right words. "But you have to believe there's still a way out. You've got to trust me just like you trusted me when you were a kid. Remember the times when you'd come to me with scraped knees, and I'd tell you stories about how to be brave." He stares at me, the fight leaving his body for a moment. "I don't remember the last time I felt brave." "Then let's change that." I take a step forward, urging him to look me in the eye. "Let's look at that tape. Let's see what we can find that might prove your case." Together, Marcus exhales sharply, but the fire in his eyes softens, replaced by flickers of hope. "Fine. But if this doesn't work..." "It will," I insist, gripping his shoulder firmly, feeling the tension in his muscles give just a little. With a reluctant nod, he slumps onto the couch, and I move to the old wooden cabinet where I've stashed away a box of tapes. Dust dances in the fading light as I rummage through the collection, each tape a snapshot of our lives. A birthday party here, a family gathering there. I can almost hear their laughter echoing through the years, a bittersweet reminder of happier times. "How about this one?" I hold up a tape labeled Family Reunion 2005. It's a moment frozen in time, a day when joy felt as abundant as the summer sun. Is that the one where Aunt Betty got drunk and started singing? Marcus smirks, the corner of his mouth twitching in a way that almost resembles a smile. Exactly. I chuckle, nostalgia flooding back. But it's not what we need right now. I toss it back into the box and continue searching. I have to find something that shows our financial struggles or our willingness to negotiate. Good luck with that, Marcus mutters, but I can sense a small shift in his demeanor, a glimmer of trust beginning to spark. Finally, I come across a tape labeled Financial Planning 2010. My heart races at the thought. This could work. I hold it up triumphantly. This one. We talked about money, about the dreams we had for the future. We can show them that we were trying. Or we can show them how naive we were, he says, crossing his arms over his chest, the shadow of doubt creeping back in. Naivety doesn't negate our efforts. I reply, my voice firm but gentle. It shows we cared enough to try, and that's what counts. I plug in the cassette player, the whirring of the machine fills the room, and I press play. The familiar crackle of the tape echoes in the silence, and soon my younger self's voice fills the air, earnest and hopeful. Money isn't everything, but it sure helps. I hear myself saying, the grainy quality of the recording transporting me back to that moment. We're going to make this work, no matter how hard it gets. Marcus's expression shifts as he listens, his defenses slowly crumbling. You really believed that, didn't you? I still do, I reply, my heart swelling with pride and sorrow. I believe in you, Marcus. We just need to show them we're not giving up. As the tape continues to play, the sound of my past self discussing dreams and goals fills the room. I can see Marcus's jaw tighten, his emotions battling within him. I watch as he shifts from anger to regret, the weight of his choices settling on his shoulders like a heavy blanket. The recording plays on, and I can't help but feel a swell of hope. There's a moment where I mention the importance of family, of sticking together through thick and thin. That's what matters most, I say in the tape, and it feels as if I'm speaking directly to Marcus now. Listen, I say softly, pressing pause for a moment. This isn't just about money, it's about us. We need to find a way to make this work as a family. Marcus nods slowly, his defenses finally beginning to lower. I'm scared, Grandpa. I don't want to lose everything. I don't want Lucas to see me fail. Failure is part of life, son. I say, my voice steady, filled with the weight of years spent learning this truth. It's how we handle it that defines us. Your worth isn't tied to your bank account. It's tied to your heart. He looks down, his fingers tapping nervously against his knee. I want to do right by Lucas. I want him to have a better life than I had. You're already doing that by being here, by fighting for him, I say. It's time to start believing in yourself again. Marcus's eyes flicker with uncertainty, but there's a spark of determination beginning to kindle deep within. Okay, let's see if this tape can help. But if it doesn't, his voice trails off, the weight of his fears evident. If it doesn't, we'll keep fighting. Together. I place the tape back into the player and press play again, the sound of my voice filling the room once more. The recording continues, and as I listen, I can feel the bond between us strengthening. The echoes of the past blend with the present, weaving a tapestry of hope, resilience, and love. The storm outside begins to rumble, thunder rolling in the distance. But within these walls, there's a flicker of determination, a promise that we will face whatever comes next, together. As the tape winds down, I glance at Marcus, and for the first time in a long while, I see a glimmer of hope in his eyes. Let's do this, he says, his voice barely above a whisper, yet filled with the weight of newfound resolve. Let's do this, I echo, a smile breaking through the storm that has loomed for far too long. And as the rain begins to fall, washing away the dust of our past, I can feel the warmth of new beginnings stirring in the air.